We're going to be talking about the SEC right now. I'm going to go through every team from Florida all the way down to Mississippi State. We're going to hit it at every team, and I'm going to give you their chances this coming fall in college football. So here we go. We're going to start with who else? National champions from last year, the Florida Gators. They lost Percy Harvin, but they got Tim Tebow. You can't beat Tebow, they say. I watched every game that Tebow played this year, and he is good, but he is not the only player on the field. I wish that the announcers would recognize other players instead of just him. Florida's going to have an outstanding year, possible national championship run again, another championship for the SEC, I'm sure. There's a big possibility, though, that they could lose some key games. One of those key games being the LSU Tigers have come about. I think their defense is going to be a little bit better this year. LSU could stun Florida. That's one of my predictions. That could happen this season. The reason I say it is because LSU had a mediocre season at best last year, and Florida embarrassed them. I mean, made them look bad out there, and I think that LSU's going to be ready for fire. Plus, they're coming to Death Valley, so we'll just see what happens down there. Next is in the SEC East also, the Georgia Bulldogs. They lost Matthew Stafford. They lost No-Show Marino, I might say, but because that's what he was when he played Alabama. Georgia's going to be, everybody's like, oh, they lost all them players. They're not going to be that good this year. They're going to surprise you. They're not going to beat Florida, but they're going to surprise you. They're going to have a pretty decent season. I'd say they win at least 8 or 9 games this season. My next one on the list is also in the East, South Carolina. Is this the year that the old ball coach finally gets it? He finally rallies his troops together? I don't think so. He's not in Florida no more. He's in South Carolina. The recruiting's a little bit different up there. But they could have a better season they've been having. They either start out good or they start out bad. And they just can't never complete the whole season. But I see them doing pretty good. I see them making a bowl appearance this year. Next in the SEC East, Kentucky. Rich Brooks has got them going. They're going to have a good season. They're going to probably do like they've been doing, 6-6, 7-5, something like that season this year. Kentucky will make a bowl, I believe. Let's see. Next up is Vanderbilt. They're at the bottom of the East right now. Vanderbilt's going to be, they're not going 6-0. They're not even going to start out 2-0 probably, but they're not going to make a bowl, but they will have, I believe, a prediction, one surprising win this season like they always do. Which moves me to the last team in the East, Lane Kiffin's Tennessee Volunteers. Lane Kiffin has not coached an SEC game this year. He's never coached an SEC game in his life. Yet he acts like he has. The Volunteers will probably be down this year. I didn't like Philip Fulmer, but I think they made a bad decision when they got rid of him and hired Lane Kiffin. Now, I could be wrong. Lane Kiffin could come in there and they could start out 8-0 or something, you know. I don't think it's going to happen, but you know, a real good friend of mine, he's a big Tennessee fan. I mean, full-blooded Tennessee fan, been it for years, and he's even disappointed with the way this is going. He said that he's not even heard no news out of Knoxville, and that's bad. So I don't know where Tennessee's going to land. We'll just have to wait and see where they go. Now on to the West. Now, I'm going to start out strong here with a team that's got a big possible chance of winning the West and going to the SEC championship game. There's three teams actually in the West that I think have a big shot at winning the West and going to play Florida in the SEC championship game. You got Ole Miss, LSU, and Alabama. Now, last year, before the season even started, 2 weeks before the season started, I wrote it down in the book. Alabama, Florida, SEC championship game. There they were. They made it. This year, I'm not making any predictions yet because it's only April. I will probably make a prediction probably around August. I'll make a decision on who I think is going to be in the SEC championship game. But right now, I believe we have, in my first pick, Ole Miss. Houston Nutt, Reverend Nutt, what they've been calling him. He's going to rally them guys around, and they are going to run into places, and they're going to storm up. They're going to cause a ruckus, and they are probably going to have I'd say a 9-10 game season this year. I think they're that good. They were that good last year, and if things lead from last year to this year, then they're going to be awesome. But we'll see how that goes. LSU, terrible season last year with Jarrett Lee. Finally, they got some sense in their head. They put that Jordan Jefferson in, and they said he wasn't ready. He looked mighty ready when he took on Georgia Tech that night. That's just one game, but I think they should have made that change a long time before they did. I think they should have made it. They'd have probably had a better season. They would probably beat Alabama, but they didn't. And that's where they needed to make the change. Andrew Hatch nor Jarrett Lee were really getting it for him, I didn't think. Next up, Mississippi State Bulldogs and Dan Mullins. Dan Mullins proved himself at Florida. Now he's coming to Mississippi State to try to prove himself up here. Well, it's going to be a harder decision because Mississippi State's not the best recruiting place in the world. And I don't think they've had but one 5-star recruited player in the last 5 years, and I think that was Derek Pegues. Mississippi State's going to have a mediocre season. They'll win 4 or 5 games, I believe. In the first season, he'll probably pull out one big surprise win too. We'll just have to wait and see how that happens. And my next one in the West will be Alabama. Big shot, big contender for the SEC championship game yet again this year. I just think they're going to have a rocky road. But I think they finally got everything in place now. Their defense is going to be vicious. Offensively, I don't know where it's going to be strong. They got Trent Richardson, they got Roy Upchurch, Mark Ingram at running back. That's going to be good. Wide receivers, Julio Jones, man. What else can you ask for? He's recovered well from wrist surgery, so he will be raring to go come September. But Greg McElroy, Star Jackson is your quarterback. I think Greg McElroy is probably going to be the starter this season. He's been waiting 3 years to get there, so now he's there finally. He's done everything they've asked him to do, so it'd be kind of good to see him get a start and see how he does. I think that's going to be it. I think Alabama have probably maybe a 10-win season this year. They could go all the way again, but I just don't see that one happening. Next to my team in the West would be the Razorbacks of Arkansas, and I think Arkansas is going to have a better season than they had last year. They just got trampled by everybody, but I think they're going to have a better season this year. Possible bowl. I see them in there in the mix for a minute or two. Which leads me to my last team in the West. Not a big fan of them anyway, but they made probably the dumbest move ever. And I'm talking about the Auburn Tigers. Made the dumbest move ever in hiring a coach with a losing record. What were they thinking, to be honest with you? But now they're going to have to sit. They're going nowhere. They are going nowhere. I see no bowl appearance. I see a 4-win season at best. So that's my thoughts. I will be doing more videos So make sure you subscribe to Roll Tide Turner. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in for more.